Crazy times, no question about it. And I really do believe that it's only going to get crazier. And I'll tell you that, what also makes me more convinced that we will see some sort of a big price rise is you have pretty darn close to as large of a short position as the managed money traders have ever had on COMEX, really close to its all-time high. They're always going to, they can certainly affect the market, but the commercial banks, which, say what you want about them, they're certainly the most sophisticated traders on the planet and well-funded. That means they're going long. And when you see the commercial banks reduce their short positions and increase their long positions as the managed money does the opposite, it tells me that you should expect a big rise. And then you look at the record short position as the price rises. Not only is it becoming hard to get product to cover, that will create a massive short squeeze. And maybe this is why you're seeing the drawdown quietly of metal to not freak out the managed money traders, because when that short squeeze happens, there's not enough silver to pay it back. As we talked about before, 1 out of every 18 contracts at this rate will get metal and 17 will be cash settled. And that's 1,800% overextended, more paper by 1,800% than there are bars backing it. And it continues to be drawn down every single week. We're getting to that point. So everything is spinning and spinning and spinning in so many different areas. Where do you focus? My focus has been in 2 places for 2 years. The move away from the dollar by 80% of the world through BRICS and the Belt Road Initiative and all of these countries that we have incentivized through weaponization of the dollar to move against us. And what does that mean? And the drawdown of supply. I've talked about these 2 things on your show almost entirely for 2 years, from the others to the market being defined by the inability to get product, to the Belt Road Initiative, Tier 1 asset and gold, and the de-dollarization through BRICS in all of these countries. This is what I am focusing on and nothing else. And the rest of it is noise. The rest of it is complete and total periphery noise. Yeah, it matters, but these are the 2 things that are going to shape, I think, all of our lives moving forward, and especially those that are in the precious metal space. So we'll keep talking about it. And I'll tell you, when I see Fox News come out and the headlines on Fox News say that Russia and China may be preparing for gold-backed currency, but expert assures U.S. dollar safest currency today. Sure it is, today, until they issue that gold-backed currency. And then everything that is in the deep recesses of the darkest nightmare you can have financially, they start to come true. I hate to say that, but it is true. And when you get little crumbs by the elite like this, on top of all of the de-dollarization, the removal of counterparty risk, and the insider selling on strength in the equity markets, and all of these things happening, on top of everything else, buckle up is all I can say. And you were warned, and you were warned a lot. And you got to do it before your eyes confirm what your gut is telling you is coming.
Grave things could potentially happen with the credit markets, all kinds of things. Now the latest thing, when interviewing Bill Holter a week ago, talking about only a few weeks left of the U.S. diesel fuel supply that would affect trucking, trains, and ships, and that sort of thing. So that's one of the concerns that we're keeping an eye on, and clients are watching. There's just a lot of things running out. I mean, I've done some industry reading on the diesel fuel situation. It sounds like it's maybe not quite as black and white and dire as like the entire country running out of diesel, 18 days from now kind of thing. But rather that they're based on industry sources, that there will be regional shortfalls in certain spot areas that will need to be covered from other areas and will result in dislocation of pricing and some delays and that sort of thing. But that actually the diesel stockpile is at its lowest point since they started measuring it in 1942. So when you start to look across the board, as you do, about many things, Alistair McLeod will tell us that bank leveraging and gearing in the Eurozone and in Japan are higher than ever, and in recorded, and inflation the highest in 42 years, and now we have the what is it, the silver supply dropping on the COMEX to levels we haven't seen in how long, and now the diesel supply and the domestic petroleum reserve, strategic petroleum reserve dropping, and it just feels like all of this slow motion, but not so slow, perfect storm forming in the world that we inhabit. People are asking, well, will this interfere with my delivery? If I place an order now, will you for sure be able to deliver it before things go off the rails? That's a question that's difficult to answer when it's into the unknown. But what do you tell clients when they ask you about continuity of availability of product and the ability to even deliver what they're ordering today, within the next month, that sort of thing?
When you try to answer a question that seems to be straightforward, the things that you just said go into my mind. I'll give you an example. You ever play golf? You're about to swing at the ball. You can have 9 thoughts go through your head like that. The wind, a bug just flew by my ball, the way the grass is. I mean, the sun, so many things can go into your mind in a split second. Now, when I try to give answers to questions like that, so many things are going through my mind, like what you just said. And in my adult life, I don't remember there being so many things that were so chaotic from so many places in the world all at once, coming out of a pandemic, coming out of massive money creation and low interest rates and price discovery that's next to impossible, and supply chain dislocations, and a political sideshow, if you will, where the decisions that our politicians are making seem just to be the wrong ones. How we're continuing to go to countries like Venezuela and Saudi Arabia and beg for oil when we all but shut down oil production here in the States, where we draw down our strategic petroleum reserves to super, super low levels, and it's there for time of war or need, when the decisions that are being made by this country are by this administration, by our leaders, are creating havoc. And simple questions like that should have direct answers are impossible to answer because of what you just said. There are a million reasons why all hell could break loose and everything could fly off the tracks all at once. And it's not just the diesel shortage. That's just one of many. How about the fact that the whole world's waking up to inflation? How about the fact that you got Fox News that just came out and said Russia and China may be preparing for gold-backed currency, but experts assure dollar's safest currency today. The point of it is that all of these things are happening at the same time. And now you got the mainstream media saying what I've been saying to you guys for 2 years, that you're going to see a gold-backed currency in the BRICS nations. What does that mean? What happens if that happens? What happens to the dollar? What happens to trying to get precious metals? I mean, the diesel thing, yeah, it's concerning, but it's one of 100 different cracks in the dam that, I mean, how many fingers and toes can you put up at once? So yeah, of course, I can't say to someone, you're going to get your product no matter what, if it's on its way in, if it's being delivered, because if anything that I've learned over the last couple of years, Dunnigan, is that anything can happen, and things that you think will never happen seem to be happening every single day. And it's not just related to interest rates or to money creation. It's related to a whole hell of a lot more than that. And I think people are very scared across the entire globe. For the very first time in my career, people are scared. They are more concerned than they are optimistic. They are frightened more than they are interested in making a return. And I think that is all adding to the issue. And again, what we talked about yesterday, what really is concerning me about everything that is happening, and you can see things spinning in every different direction, is what's happening on the exchanges, where quietly, where price is blurring what's happening and is running cover, it's disappearing. Every single day we see more and more and more metal drawn off of the exchanges, where 80 tons of gold were purchased by China in July, where 37 million ounces of silver were purchased by India last month. That's more than there's in the COMEX reserve. When I did this interview with you a week ago, I said there was 36 million ounces in the registered category. Now it's down to 34. It's being bled down every single day. It is being bled down by the biggest money in the world as the price is doing nothing. And what does that mean to your question, which was simple and straightforward? It means that everything that goes into answering that question has variability to it, from interest rates to geopolitical issues, to political issues, to everything that's happening, supply chain issues, the diesel, everything. It's all coming together at once. And this is why I believe there will be a moment of reckoning, where people realize that the road to retirement may not be paved with stock certificates and mutual funds like it has been for the past 40 years. And I just think that a question like that is very difficult to answer. This is why I've been telling people, please get a core position now, cost average once you get a core position, because it's not getting any easier. Like, for example, when I have to be told that the refineries in Turkey are having a hard time getting product out because of geopolitical issues, when I have to be told that the refineries in Switzerland can't really guarantee too much because they don't know if they can keep the power on throughout the winter, these are things that are adding into the equation, not just what's going to happen if we run out of diesel. What's going to happen if there's an escalation of war in the Ukraine? What does that do to the rest of Europe, where 4 of the 6 mints in the world are? So, not an easy question to answer, but I think people can sense the increasing velocity at which things continue to happen. Things that years ago would have been a huge news story, now they're just another piece of the fabric of this crazy blanket that we're all underneath. So I wish I knew how to answer that question better, but I do think a bird in the hand is worth X in the bush. And at this point, all bets are off as to what happens leading into the midterm and what happens after the midterm. And what does that mean for supply chains? What does that mean for availability? I don't know. I can only tell you that it's never been this hard ever in 33 years to tell you what's going to happen in a month from now, because it's just complete and total variability and uncertainty, even on this end, where we're trying to find a shred or a sliver of something concrete to lock in on. When I'm buying kangaroos from Australia that are 65 days out, that means I got to run logistics on getting it over here on a ship and on a Brinks truck. Once it gets into Boston Harbor, I need to move it, and all of this comes into play, plus the hedging of it and what's going on COMEX. There's so much variability on every single metric that these questions are impossible to answer, and I think will only become more murky and murky and murky as time goes on, until we see something that shows a little bit of clarity. I haven't seen it in over a year.